Hey YouTube, I'm going to do a kind of interim video here on this Volkswagen GTI project, and this is probably something that a lot of people have come across. And what I'm dealing with here is, this is the intake side of the engine, and this kind of round piece of the engine block is where your intake balance shaft or intake side balance shaft goes. And what I have done is I had assembled the head. I've got all the timing chain, the balance shaft chains. I've got all of the the cover plate on there, timing chain cover plate and dipstick, and the variable valve sensor there. And when I was going to change the water pump drive belt, I removed the bolt that holds the pulley on, okay? And the pulley does go like this. There's kind of a beveled edge here, and you can see the beveled side of the balance shaft there. And so I removed the bolt, and I took the pulley off, changed out the belt. I went to put this back on, and as you know, in the service manual, it calls for replacement bolt. So in the process of putting this replacement bolt in, it snapped off. That much was down in the inside of the balance shaft. So you can see how much was down in there. It's probably good, about a 1/4 inch or so broke off down in there. And my genius idea was to put red Loctite on this to make sure it wouldn't balance, wouldn't come off. Because a lot of people say, never seen one of these water pump belts break. But in my case, when I was taking apart the engine, I think I showed you on this other video, but there it is. It's got a little cut in it. So I wanted to make sure I changed that. And like I said, in the process, I broke off the bolt. Now that is reverse threads, which is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is, it makes it a little bit easier to get it out when it's broken off down in there. Now, had this engine been in the vehicle, I don't know if I would have been able to do this, but I'm going to show you what I did. I went to the hardware store, and I got what they call a hinge bit, or a self-centering adapter, and you can see it right there. And what this is, on the inside, it's kind of spring-loaded. Kind of pull this back. Sorry about all the flakes there, but there's a drill bit inside there, and then of course it's clamped down with, it's got a little carriage bolt thing there, or a set pin somewhere. There you go. And when you undo that, you can change out the size of the drill bit that's within here. And let me zoom in on this. So see how that's kind of got a little beveled edge? Well, when you push this up against the whatever you're going to drill into, that drill bit actually protrudes, and it allows you to go into the center of the hole. And the reason for this self-centering piece is to make sure that that drill bit hits the direct center of that broken off bolt. And so I used that, and the smallest drill bit that I could find, not so tiny it was going to break off in there, but small enough to where I could get the majority of the bolt, and then squirted some lubrication in there, drilled it out, okay, got down in there. I used basically the depth gauge on there. And then once I had the center of it drilled out, I took a deck screw and ran it down in there. And as soon as it got a bite, luckily when you're turning a screw in, it's gonna pull out the reverse threads. And look at there. Got the entire bolt out, and luckily I did not drill all the way through it, so I didn't damage the balance shaft. And you can see the threads are still good, and the threads are still good. Well, I really can't get it, but the threads are still good on the balance shaft itself. So I'll clean out all that, all those metal chips, but show you a little bit of an approach that I did. Obviously this sacrificial screw, what size screw that is, number 2. Let's see here. There we go. Number 8 by 1 5/8. You could probably get a longer one, but the diameter worked out perfect with the size of the drill bit that I was using. And look at there, it came right out. So now I've got to go get a replacement one-time use bolt to go in the end of the balance shaft. Now, thank God that worked, because I would have had to take all that timing gear off of the front of there, take that balance shaft out, and get it mounted up on a press or something, or probably have to replace the whole damn balance shaft. I don't know. So anyway, and I'm feeling pretty good that I was able to get that out, and I'm going to clean that up just a little bit. And I wanted to do just a little interim video here because reverse threads, don't ever reuse these bolts, and make sure you use the proper torque. For whatever reason, when I was cranking that down, it just snapped right off. I mean, it just twisted, and you can see it barely broke. It just dink. There you go, reverse thread. And the torque on it, I believe, is 9 Newton meters and 1/4 turn. And that's reverse thread, obviously using a torque wrench with the reverse beep or reverse click. And anyway, same thing up on that on the camshaft bolt. You want to reuse that, or don't reuse. You want to definitely make sure you replace that. So there we go. Now I found one other issue, and that was when I put in the EGR valve system on here. This bolt right here stripped out in the aluminum of the head. So I've got that helicoiled. Reason being is there's a nice gasket that goes around in here, and of course the pressure in your crankcase is what's affected your EGR, and then ultimately your vacuum, and you want to definitely make sure that's correct, because it's going to flow from the hole that's up underneath here from your oil and air separator on the side of the engine block. So there we go, interim little video for you, and we'll get caught up whenever we get a little bit more things done. I've got to clean up obviously the workbench here, and then I'm probably going to get the rear side, the turbo going, and everything that's going to go on the back side of the engine, or the exhaust side, because I'll be able to get that into the engine, or into the engine bay, and then I can work on everything up here in the front as need be, and then you know, work on that wiring harness that needs to plug into the crank sensor, crank position sensor, and all that kind of goes behind the intake manifold. I don't want to put that on just yet until I get all the wiring harness laid out as it's going to work. So I'll finish up the intake side of the engine once this is back in the engine bay, and of course get the turbo and everything back on here, the exhaust manifold and all the rinky-dink stuff that goes back in there. And then I'll probably go ahead and get this, and then get it mounted back on the transmission, one time swing it in there, hang it up on the engine mounts, and then start working on the wiring. So that's where we're at today. This is, I think, video number 5A. Just to show you guys, if you ever come across a problem, a bolt broke off in a hole, it's a good approach to use one of these self-centering bits, drill out the center, and then either use, the simplest thing is just get you a screw, if it's got reverse thread, and take it out, or you can you know, get you a easy out, reverse thread easy out, or if it's not in there very tight, you might be able to tap down in a plus or a Phillips screwdriver and get it out that way, or a flat blade screwdriver. So there you go. More to come, little tech tip for you. And I just discovered that by doing it. So have a good one. Bye.